Hey, this is Notser, and this is the premium Tier 7 German destroyer, Z-39. As far as my build is concerned, main armament protection, propulsion protection, improved accuracy, improved acceleration, concealment. Wait a minute, this is a Tier 7 Notser. We'll get back to that. Priority target, last stand, adrenaline rush, superintendent, survivability expert, concealment, and then radiolocation. Now, you might be wondering, why does it have concealment that's usually reserved for Tier 8 and above? Well, at one point, this was a Tier 8, and it wasn't good enough. So Wargaming lowered it to Tier 7 and kept all of the stats pretty much the same. And that makes a really competitive Tier 7 ship because it acts a lot like a Tier 8. Now, it does have the 150mm guns, and if you've watched my content, you know I don't really enjoy them. I find that they are more difficult to use against other DDs, and that is a huge focus of mine when I'm playing my destroyers. If I take out the DDs, the enemy team's going to have a much tougher time trying to win the game. Having said that, you have great German torpedoes. You have at least 2 kilometers between your ship concealment and the maximum torpedo range. Fantastic. Hydroacoustic, very usable. Now, this isn't German hydroacoustic, but it might as well be. It's a Tier 8 normal hydro sitting at Tier 7. The base hydroacoustic range for ship detection is 4.4 kilometers, and for torpedoes it's 3.1. So it's really usable. It's really enjoyable to play. You play it like any other German. If you've used the 150s, you know their weaknesses. If you've played against it, you know their weaknesses. That's probably the only aspect of the ship that doesn't make me absolutely love it. The 150mm guns are difficult to use, and for most players, I feel, they're not the first choice when you're playing your Germans. You're usually going 128s. And another aspect of all this is, if you are someone who's gone a gun build on your Germans, and you want to pull it down to this 150 premium for obvious reasons, you're not going to benefit from basic firing training or advanced firing training. Your gun caliber is too large. So keep this all in mind. The guns are usable. They are pretty good in certain situations, but there are large drawbacks that are very obvious when you've played through the Ernst or the Z-23 and you recognize, okay, I can't do all the things I want to do in certain situations. But we captured A point. I sent my torpedoes towards potentially an enemy DD or 2 who are attempting to hold B while my team is trying to capture it, of course. And we do get a torpedo strike on an enemy. It causes a flood, and I'm just confirming in the top right corner, it looks like, yeah, looks like he used damage control on the flood. And I think I spotted the enemy DD that took a significant amount of damage. And before you know it, our torpedoes are going to be back up because they're Germans. So I just love the Germans for that. The constant barrage. And yeah, here's me verifying the hydroacoustic. The constant barrage of torpedoes, it's what I dreamed of from the Japanese destroyer design. They really went the opposite direction with the Japanese. They made them really long refire, really easy to detect, but monster damage. If you take a Japanese torpedo, you're basically dead. If you take a German torpedo, there's a chance that you survive, but he's going to have his torpedoes back up and ready to go to attack someone else on your team. And I was expecting the enemy cruiser to come around the corner. I am a little close for comfort because of that, but I just felt like he was totally going to go. He absolutely thinks he's going to run around the corner, and we are definitely in range for him to exploit it, and he's going to fire. So I use my smoke, my German smoke, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to die. He clearly wasn't using hydroacoustic on me. I believe a radar ship is using it. And I think I communicate that to my team. But because it's a Russian radar ship, I just have to wait out the duration. I can still benefit from this and fire freely from it. Hopefully I get to show off the guns real quick. And just as I was thinking that, the enemy DD is absolutely going to push forward towards A point. So here's another interesting interaction. 150s versus an enemy DD. If you've never seen it, there's two in the front, two in the rear. The front one is a heavily armored dual gun turret. It's got 30 millimeters on its front. So if you're firing at it, don't fire at the gun. If you are a DD or even light cruiser guns, light cruiser guns could potentially shatter on the armor. It's kind of silly. You would have to hit directly on the face of the gun turret on the front. That's the only point of the ship that has 30 millimeters, by the way. Everything else is 19 or 13. But I'm going to rotate around. I was able to use my hydroacoustic with that little extra range. It gives me the safe barrier to rotate without him surface detecting me. You guys don't like that I say body spot. So yeah, 2 kilometer base is the surface detect. 2.5 is the target acquisition improved surface detection range. But I can keep him fully spotted. I can see his torpedoes that are clearly coming. I can stop, put on the air brakes, and I'm able to unload my guns, which I will never be able to fire AP at this target. I can't benefit from the German because I'm just going to overpin way too hard. But he's going to die very quickly. Very quickly, enemy's dead. And completely safe from the torpedoes. Felt really good. My smoke's almost ready. My torpedoes are already ready. So I've got to find another target. You know, this is the aspect of the Germans that I just enjoy. There's always something to do. You can just rotate through your cooldowns. You've got hydroacoustic. You've got your smoke. You've got your torpedoes. You got speed boost. You've got your main battery. I love it. I love the Germans. And the Z-39 absolutely plays like any other German ship. So, torpedoes are ready to go. We're also in the center. We're hoping to get a capture. The concealment cannot be underestimated. Okay. So, we spotted the enemy DD. Fairly low. The refire's pretty slow. If I wanted to, duck from being concealed, I would have to basically wait through 2 salvos in order to drop off, which has its good and bad. You know, the battleship guns reload so slow that you have a chance to duck in between shots, right? 7.5 is slow. The guns do traverse fairly slow too, 22.5 seconds. But that's pretty normal for this tier for the Germans. It is a weakness. If you were uncomfortable with that, you could maybe consider dropping off your adrenaline rush skill or picking up expert marksman. Definitely don't take it over last stand. But that's not really related to the 150 millimeters. It's more related to just mid-tier Germans. We capture the base. Looks really awesome. Enemy DD put down his smoke. My hydroacoustic is not up, but it should be up in 30 seconds. I'm going to feel a little brazen, I think. I want to move forward. I think it was, wasn't it a Soviet DD? I have a little preview window, and I swear it was a Soviet DD. We're detected by something. I think it is a radar system. Going to try and open up, since I'm already spotted, you know, why not? Send my torpedoes towards the enemy Leon. Trying to make sure that I'm in cover, so nothing can fire on me even though they see me. And yeah, the radar is been used. Just doing a quick check to look around. It is very important that you understand where the enemy could be, and oh, hello there. Well, see you later. Guns feel pretty good, you know, the accuracy's there. Yeah, it's a slow refire, but I can get them, and we got a double strike out of that, so no complaints. It's working out pretty good, right? You've got the concealment to outspot pretty much everything at this tier, other than, what was it? It was the The Gajimata. The Gajimata and the Shiratsuyu. Those are the only two ships that either have equal or better concealment. All the other DDs are in the 6'9", 6'6" range. So having half a kilometer on those guys, you can't underestimate that. That's pretty nice. That might be too nice. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, when I was playing this, I felt really dominant in my position. Now, I did benefit from my team playing very well. And, well, my division playing very well. The enemy team actually was bringing this back, and I was really afraid of this. And I'm setting up my German torpedoes once again on a potential target. Maybe I was hoping to get a read on him. Maybe he's going south. Maybe he feels like he could come into B point. The enemy team does need to try and capture some bases if they have a chance. And I can just sit with my superior concealment in a advantageous position. Now, this is a little dangerous. So, German ships have one weakness that is very universal. They're sort of big. They're big girls. They don't have the rudder shift that you would expect in an American or a Japanese or a Pan-Asian. They're more Russian in that regard, and even the Russians kind of have a better rudder shift response. So this is a little sluggish. You might consider picking up rudder shift instead of acceleration, but then you're going to give up your anti-torpedo play with hydroacoustic because you won't be able to stop on a dime, right? So it's all trade-offs when it comes to that. You just have to be careful. So I took the wrong way here. Absolutely took the wrong way. But I was able to get out. I should have been more cautious and come around the island. Instead, I felt like the concealment was so good, maybe I could chance it. And we barely survived, honestly. If I didn't have the smoke, and I would have been just out in the open. But torpedoes are ready. Send the torpedoes towards the enemy. Nobody is in line of sight, so I can freely fire these guns. If the enemy goes broadside, then we'll get to see the AP shell, and the AP shell's pretty nice on Germans. 3,700 AP is not to be underestimated. But it does look like the enemy Baltimore is at least aware of the threat, so he's trying to angle, but it doesn't look like he can turn in time, and he takes two. It just takes two, baby. Two torpedoes, knocked the guy out, earned Kraken Unleashed, and that was the game. Overall, she's a great ship. It's the 150mm guns that are a tough sell, honestly. If you can't get over 150mm in the way they perform, you're probably not going to ever like this ship. But if you can make a little bit of a compromise on the guns, the torpedoes are great, hydroacoustic's great, concealment is fantastic, and the survivability is, honestly, Tier 8 at Tier 7. So it feels very dominant versus Tier 7 and below, and it can contest Tier 8s. It feels good. It feels like it's a very well-balanced ship at Tier 7. And I have really enjoyed my time with it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.